Today's story is about a pregnant woman who gets separated from her husband and gets trapped inside a container in the middle of the sea. Water is constantly filling up inside the container, and there's no hope of help from outside. Life seems to be giving up from all sides. And in this condition, she gives birth to a tiny baby girl. But in the middle of the ocean, how will a mother survive without food or water along with her newborn? That's what we'll see in today's full story. So, the story begins with a radio message, where it's being announced that a terrible famine has spread across Spain. Essential items are running out, and the situation has become so bad that the government has started strictly controlling common people. Those who cannot be self-reliant, like the elderly, children and pregnant women, are either being captured or killed. There is pressure everywhere, and people are trying to escape in any way they can. Many are escaping illegally to other countries through cargo ships. In the middle of all this, we see a couple named Mia and Nico, who, like others, want to escape this hell. Mia is pregnant and in her final month. Then they meet people who help others escape the country through cargo ships. But after seeing Mia's condition, those people ask for even more money, finally giving them hope. They put the couple inside a cargo container named Nowhere, where many other pregnant women and their families were already present. This container would first go to the port by truck, and from there be taken to another country by ship. Mia was very scared, but Nico comforts her, saying, "I won't let anything happen to you or our baby. If it's a girl, we'll name her Uma." Uma was their elder daughter, who was killed just because she went out to play. After that, both fall asleep out of exhaustion. In the morning, the container door opens, and there's chaos everywhere. People start rushing inside out of fear. And in this rush, Mia and Nico get separated. At that moment, the group manager fires a warning shot and announces that there are too many people with them, so the ones who just entered now will have to go in a separate container. But no one listens, so he's forced to order his men to pull people out by force. Nico tries to explain to them, but he too is thrown out and Mia is left behind. Now, separated from her husband, Mia anxiously looks through a hole and sees that Nico is being placed in container number 107 with the others. She immediately calls him, and Nico tries to calm her down, saying, "I'm fine. All containers are going on the same ship, so I'll meet you at the next port." And Mia sees that people are protesting against the government. But it's of no use, because the police and army are killing people mercilessly, and capturing some of them as well. All of this was being done by the government itself. Sometime later, their container stops at a location, so everyone goes and hides in the container's secret compartment. Mia peeks through a hole and sees that police officers are inspecting the containers. They had received information that people are escaping the country by hiding in containers, but when they open the door of this container, no one is visible inside. But the main officer was very clever. He had already understood that there was a secret part inside the container. He goes inside and shouts, "If you come out willingly, your lives will be spared. Otherwise, everyone will be killed inside." Then, out of fear, one girl opens the door, and the officer gives an order to his men. They start firing and kill everyone. Within moments, the container fills up with dead bodies. And Mia, watching everything from above, trembles with fear. But somehow she controls herself. After that, the officer orders all the bodies to be taken out, and has the container loaded onto the ship and sent away. Mia is watching all of this through the hole, and now she is the only one left inside the container. She tries to call her husband, but the call doesn't connect. Just then her eyes fall on a bag that had food items and some other things. She takes a drill machine, a phone, and a knife from the bag, and keeps them with her. Then she sits in a corner, and without realizing she falls asleep. But suddenly, in the middle of the night, the container starts shaking violently, and Mia wakes up. She gets scared and looks outside. There was a strong storm in the ocean. She tries to survive somehow and screams, "Help me!" But it's of no use. Suddenly, the ship hits a big wave, and many containers fall into the sea. Mia gets hit on the head and becomes unconscious. The next morning when she wakes up, a lot of water had already filled the container. She looks outside. Water was all around, and some containers were sinking. That means her container was floating in the middle of the sea, and she was completely trapped. Terrified, she takes out her phone to try and call Nico, but the phone was broken and no longer working. Then she checks the second phone from the bag, but it had no network. Meanwhile, water was slowly filling the container, and it could sink any time. While looking around, she sees 2 holes at the bottom of the container, through which water was coming in. To block those holes, she starts looking for things around her. In one box she finds expensive alcohol, and in another many useful supplies. She collects items according to her needs. Just then she finds a tape. She tries to block the holes with it, and the water starts coming in a bit slower. But just then, she hears people screaming. Scared, she looks outside and sees a container sinking, the number 107 written on it. She realizes this was Nico's container. She starts screaming, but she couldn't do anything. Quickly, she takes the SIM card out of her phone and inserts it into the other phone to try and call Nico. But by then, Nico's container completely sinks into the water, and she just keeps watching and crying, unable to do anything. After losing her husband, she starts to break down completely. With shattered hope, she gives up on life. Tired and broken, she tries to take her own life. But then, she feels her baby moving inside her womb. She throws the knife away, takes a deep breath, and tells herself she has to live for her child. Thinking this, she falls asleep right there. Then she sees a dream that the container is filling with water completely, and she's drowning. Scared, she wakes up and sees that water was actually coming in rapidly. She opens other boxes and checks. Inside were many items and empty plastic containers. Then, cutting a rubber rope she finds there, she blocks the holes. Using a pipe, she creates a setup to remove as much water as possible. She then pushes all the big boxes to one side to create more space inside the container, so that survival becomes a bit easier. This meant she had made up her mind. No matter what, she had to live for her baby. She was still trying her best to survive. In the middle of this, she gets a call from Nico on her phone. He tells her that he had somehow escaped from the container earlier. Hearing this, Mia's heartbeat starts to rise again. Nico is alive. She tells him everything. That due to the storm, her container got separated from the ship, and now she is stuck in the middle of the sea. Nico says, "I'm also stuck somewhere, but I promise I'll come to you. No matter what, I will come to save you and our baby." Hearing this, Mia feels a bit calmer. After a little time passes, she eats some bread and drinks the water that was available inside the container. But outside, the sea slowly starts to get stormy again. And just then, Mia begins to experience labor pains. The container was shaking because of the heavy storm outside. But she doesn't give up. And after enduring a lot of pain, she gives birth to a baby girl. Meanwhile, because of the storm, a lot of water had entered the container. She tries to keep herself and her baby safe by staying on top of a box, and she falls asleep there. After that, she covers her baby with some clothes. But now the food was also running out, and to stay alive, she needed to do something quickly. She didn't know what to do. Then her eyes fall on the drill machine. She thinks, if she could cut open the container's roof, maybe she could get out and find some help. After that, she starts cutting the roof. But cutting through a container with just a drill wasn't an easy task at all. On top of that, her baby was also crying. So first, she feeds the baby to calm her down, and then continues. After working hard for several hours, She manages to make some holes in the roof. But before she can completely open it, the drill machine stops working. Exhausted from hunger, she just sits down right there. Now she couldn't figure out how to separate the cut part of the roof. Then she tries to turn on her old phone to make a call, because the second phone had been damaged by water. The phone turns on, but it isn't working properly. Then she picks up a knife and tries to cut the remaining part. But in the end, even the knife breaks. Now, while feeding her baby, she feels extremely thirsty. But her drinking water had completely run out, and she had already eaten the last bit of food. Now, due to hunger and thirst, she faints right there. And the whole night passes like this. The next morning it starts to rain, and water begins to enter through the holes. Least now, she has some water to drink. She collects the rainwater in plastic containers. Then an idea comes to her. Using a belt she found there, she starts pulling the cut part of the container with all her strength. Eventually the piece breaks off. Then, holding her baby, she climbs on top of the container. And after 7 long days, she finally feels the sun and fresh air again. Now that she was outside, she had more hope of being rescued. And as soon as she throws the old clothes into the sea, fishes start gathering around. Seeing this, she gets an idea. She tries to set something up to catch the fish. But after trying several times, she fails to catch any. Just then, she sees an airplane flying above her. She quickly rushes down, breaks the glass of the TV, and climbs back up to use the glass for signaling. But while doing that, she injures her foot badly on the container. Still, she somehow manages to get up and tries to signal with the glass reflection. But by then, the airplane had gone too far. In the process, her foot is badly injured and starts bleeding heavily. So first, to treat the wound, she cleans the area with alcohol and wipes it with a cloth. Then she takes a thin wire from the broken TV and begins stitching her wound by herself. This causes her a lot of pain, but she had no other option. After a little rest, she joins some wires together to prepare a fishing net so she can catch fish. The next morning, she goes outside and tries again. This time, a fish gets caught in her net, and due to hunger, she eats it raw. After that, she catches a few more fish and stores them in plastic containers. Now that she was eating again, her baby was also able to get milk. And like this, 2 more days pass while somehow surviving. But she doesn't lose hope. Her phone still wasn't working, but there was still some battery left. So she waits for Nico's call. Then that same night, as she steps out of the container, she receives one last call from Nico. Apologizing, he tells her that while trying to escape from the container, an officer shot him. He says he's lying somewhere wounded, and he doesn't know if he will survive or not. Crying, Mia tells him that she gave birth to a daughter who looks exactly like Uma. She tells him she has faced every hardship and still hasn't lost hope. Since the battery was about to die, Mia brings the phone close to Uma, so Nico can hear his daughter's voice one last time. During this, both of them cry a lot, and it becomes a deeply emotional moment. The next morning, Mia decides that no matter what, she must save her daughter, because more than half of the container was already filled with water, so staying there any longer wasn't safe. Then she starts building a raft, using wooden pieces and plastic containers. Looking at the container, it seemed like it could completely sink by night. But before night falls, she manages to finish the raft and places her daughter on it. But just before leaving, she remembers the photo of her elder daughter and the chocolate Nico had given her, which she had kept in a plastic box, still inside the container. She goes back down to get it, but while returning, her foot gets stuck in a belt on the floor, and the container was just about to sink. So she tries hard to free herself, but her foot was still stuck. With great difficulty, she cuts the belt using a knife and climbs back up. But by then, Uma's raft had drifted far away. Not seeing it nearby, she starts crying. Just then, a shark begins circling around her, and Mia gets scared. But it doesn't harm Uma. Then, hearing her baby's cries, Mia quickly swims toward her. And seeing her daughter safe, she breathes a sigh of relief. But this time, she ties a rope from the raft to her own hand, so they won't get separated again. Now, she had no strength left in her body, so she starts floating with the waves. But she had seen a seabird in the morning, which meant land must be nearby. Holding on to that hope, she tries to survive by letting the waves carry her. Eventually, morning comes, and we see a family out on a boat, fishing nearby. Suddenly, they spot something floating in the distance, where many seabirds were flying. They steer the boat in that direction, and spot a box. When they pull it up, they're shocked to find a small baby inside. They couldn't understand who had left such a little child in the sea. Then they notice a rope tied to the box. As they pull the rope, they see Mia, unconscious, floating in the water. They quickly pull her up, but from the looks of it, she seemed to be dead. Still, they try giving her CPR to bring her back, and after some time, Mia finally regains consciousness. They help her sit up, and the first thing she does is look for her daughter. They tell her that her baby is safe, and hand Uma back to her. Mia hugs her daughter tightly, and in this way, after surviving for 10 whole days, Mia not only saved herself, but also saved her daughter. This story proved that a mother is not just a relationship. She is a strength, a power that stands between life and death, yet never lets go of her love. A mother's love is the greatest force in the world, and in return, she never asks for anything from her child. I truly hope this story touched your heart, and if you're visiting our channel for the first time, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.